Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to another installment of On This Day. Today is Friday, November 28th, 2025. On this day, I'm Christy, and I'll be taking you on this journey to the past, the present, the strange, and possibly other dimensions. So keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times, and let's get this party started. This being Friday, we do a recap of what we spoke about on Monday and Wednesday. And we learned some new things about today. On Monday, we first spoke about the death of Freddie Mercury, Queen frontman and co-founder, died at the age of 45 after complications from AIDS. His star power was obvious since the beginning in 1970 due to his complexity of his songwriting and the dexterity of his vocals, all the way to his flamboyant stage appearance. He made many hits with Queen until he passed, and he also struck out on a solo career and landed in the top 10 UK albums, Mr. Bad Guy. Following his death, the remaining members of Queen organized a star-studded tribute concert in London, which raised awareness for AIDS and money to help fight this deadly disease. Then we went back all the way to 1968. Diana Ross and the Supremes knocked the Beatles' "Hey Jude" off the Billboard Hot 100 with "Love Child." The song marked the group's 11th number one hit. In 1976, Chicago scored their first and only number one hit in the UK with their Grammy-winning ballad, "If You Leave Me Now." 2008, Boy George appeared in Snaresbrook Crown Court after a 29-year-old male escort accused him of assault. In 2007, Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist Flea lost his multi-million-dollar mansion in the wildfires that swept through Malibu. 53 others also lost their homes by the blaze. In 2006, winners of the year's American Music Awards included Kelly Clarkson, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Shakira, Jamie Foxx, Nickelback, Sean Paul, the Black Eyed Peas, Eminem, Faith Hill, Rascal Flatts, Tim McGraw, Mary J. Blige, Nelly Fernando, John Mayer, and Fall Out Boys. Okay. After this, we now take a trip into the facts. It was National Sardines Day and Celebrate Your Unique Talent Day. In 1995, Ireland ended its ban on divorce. During this process, the divorce vote won by 50.28%. So, I wonder how many divorces were started just because the law finally allowed them to get divorced. Anywho, in 2019, Taylor Swift won 6 awards at the American Music Awards. In 2016, an international research team published discovery of 1,500 new viruses in Australia and China. And in 1887, George Hancock, who invented softball, played his first game in Chicago. On to Wednesday's recap. In 1976, the Sex Pistols released their debut single, "Anarchy," in the UK. The punk song, which later appeared on the band's album Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. It became an anthem for youth around the world. They were later dropped from EMI Records after a profanity-laden appearance on live TV. The track peaked up the UK to top 40 and would later be covered by Megadeth and Motley Crue. In more recent decades, it has ranked on both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 500 songs and that shaped rock and roll's list, as well as Rolling Stone's 500 greatest hits of all time. After we take a trip to the nifty 50s, when in 1958 Johnny Cash scored a top 20 hit on the Billboard country charts with his debut Cry, Cry, Cry. It was originally released in 1955. The song was included on his 1957 LP, Johnny Cash with his hot and blue guitar. His following 7 singles would all land top 10 charts. In 2021, the Beatles won a collection of the group's number 1 hits, top Billboard Hot 200. The album followed suit in the UK, South Korea, Australia, and across Europe, and eventually declared the world's best-selling album of the decade. In 1968, Cream played their final concert in London's Royal Albert Hall. The performance was later broadcast by BBC, as it was considered their farewell tour concert. In 1973, the New York Dolls played their first UK show in London. In 2021, Adele was number 1 on the UK charts with her first studio album in 6 years, which was her first. The album was nominated for 6 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, and won the British Award for British Album of the Year in 2022, making her the first solo artist in history to win the award 3 times. Lastly, we end on a high note. When in 2010, Willie Nelson was arrested for possession of 6 ounces of marijuana on his tour bus. He was released after paying a $2,500 bail. The prosecutor supported not sentencing him to jail for such a small amount, but instead suggested a $100 fine and told Willie Nelson he would have to sing Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain for the court. Wednesday's facts was known as Good Grief Day and Cake Day. We start our trip back to 1865 when Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland was published in the U.S. In 2015, the UK-based computer company Raspberry Pi released their $5 or 4-pound computer. The nonprofit released Pi Zero, which sold out in hours. In 2011, NASA launched their Mars Science Laboratory probe, which carried the Curiosity Mars rover. In 2003, the last Concorde to ever fly made a trip of honor over the English Channel. In 1992, Queen Elizabeth II became Britain's first monarch to pay income taxes. She informed her Prime Minister, John Major, earlier that she wanted to change her tax arrangements. Prior to this, monarchs weren't expected to pay taxes because they served a duty to the country. She thought it was the right thing to do. In 1922, British archaeologists Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon were the first to set foot in the tomb of King Tutankhamun in more than 3,000 years. They both died within 7 months of opening it, leading people to believe there was a dire curse unleashed upon them when they opened the tomb. Lastly, the Titanic of New England, the SS Portland, sunk off the coast of Maine. A storm shipwrecked the ship, killing all 192 aboard. think we'd stop naming, vessels like Titanic and the other Titanic and the other Titan. The Titan, sorry. The first one was the Titan, then it was the Titanic. Anywho, now let's take a trip on this day in music history for Friday. In 1974, John Lennon made one of his final concert appearances at Madison Square Garden, where he appeared with Elton John for 3 songs. The duo, who performed their collaborative hit, Whatever Gets You Through the Night, plus 2 Beatles songs, I Saw Her Standing There and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, had made a bet in the studio. Lennon agreed that if the duo's recording made it to number 1, he would join his friend on the stage. In 1954, with Let's Have Another Party, Winifred Atwell became the first black artist to not only top the UK chart, but also to sell 1 million records. In 1987, I've Had the Time of My Life, the theme from Dirty Dancing, went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The duet, sung by Jennifer Warnes and Bill Medley, later received an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Grammy. Lastly, in music, in 1991, Nirvana delivered a memorable performance on the UK show Top of the Pops. Among several antics, frontman Kurt Cobain attempted to eat his microphone. Let's hit some facts. Today is known as Red Planet Day and French Toast Day. I like French toast, and I like Mars. So, here we go. I told you I was an alien. Anywho. On this day in 1893, women voted in general election for the first time in New Zealand. This marked New Zealand. This made New Zealand the first country to allow women to vote in parliamentary elections. In 2024, we take it over a little bit from the Kiwis to the Aussie. Australia became the first country in the world to pass laws banning kids and teens from using social media. The controversial bill, which banned anyone under 16 from accessing apps like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and was passed despite a huge public outcry. In 2023, a Virgin Airlines plane became the first to fly using 100% sustainable fuel. Flight VS-100, which flew from London to New York using fuel made from cooking oils, takeout, and other waste products. While planes using sustainable jet fuel emit the same amount of carbon, their net carbon emissions are 70% lower. Lastly, in 1929, explorer Richard E. Byrd became the first person to fly over the South Pole. Let me question you. Question: in what year was the first ever Wimbledon championship held? Answer: 1877. Question: which email service is owned by Microsoft? Answer: Hotmail. Question: what was the first state? Answer: Delaware. Bonus question: where would you find the world's most ancient forest? Answer: Daintree Forest, north of Cairns, Australia. On to birthdays. 1929, Berry Gordy. 1943, Randy Newman. 1962, Matt Cameron. 1979, Chameleonaire. 1983, Roston. That's G. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchered the hell out of that one. 1984, Trey Songz. Now, don't forget, I hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget, you can catch us here 7 days a week with Brian the Rockstone on WCDI. And don't forget to check out the Top Rope Report. The Top Rope Report every Wednesday, Sunday and Wednesday. Thanks. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. No drinking and driving. No playing stupid games and getting hurt. Keep it real. Ciao.